come all to once fear us, they fear one us. I'm not going to be on here long, but I was dilly dallying in my apartment, and some things were kind of coming through my time feed, and I felt, that I could go ahead on and address some of those topics that came around, uh, because it's my channel and no one really comes over to kind of watch it. So I can kind of share what's going on with my thoughts and so forth and so on with the current events, right? And I think the most recent, the latest, the most heavy is with Carmelo Anthony, because I feel for his mother, right? I'm actually working on a blog for Black mamas because she's not by herself, by no means. And unfortunately, in the world that we live in, she will not be by herself. There will be more Carmelo Anthony's because of the domestic terrorism that takes place in our country, and no one really talks about it. So hopefully one day, we will be able to talk about it and we will begin to discuss the elephant in the room. Because as I was looking at uh, reviewing some of the, uh, I guess it would be the time feed, the people coming into my stuff. I ran across a older podcast segment that Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, was a part of. And the vitriol that came out of that man's mouth, it's what some of us had already kind of thought. Because there's no way that this white boy, even though he's privileged in Texas, even though, in Texas, they were the last ones to, black, to in a sense, emancipate the slaves there. I couldn't understand how all of a sudden this white boy is just going to want to shove another person. But as I listened to the vitriol of his father, that who referred to Carmelo Anthony as a watermelon felon, it made sense why the young man felt emboldened enough to put his hands on another human being, as opposed to what white parents, or white people tell black parents, you're not to take matters into your own hands. You are supposed to go and find an adult and speak to them about the conflict. Is different from white kids. White kids can put their hands on other people, especially if they're people of color, because that's what took place in this incident that no one wants to talk about. They kind of scurry over, meaning the white people. They scurry over the fact that this white boy put his hands on another person and it wasn't his child, right? We just focus on the fact that Carmelo responded as a child would, a child. Again, white America tends to want to adultify our black children, especially black boys. This is no different. So, with that being said, children are not born racist. Adults are the first teachers that children scaffold or learn from. Parents and adults teach racist behaviors. Jeff's father made racist comments in public. Imagine what he said about black people privately. On this particular podcast, you hear him saying things like, I don't understand why black people have an issue because we gave you jobs after you came over here, after you were sold by your own people to us. And if you don't like it, you can leave. These are the things that this man, his father, was saying uh, openly. if you will, nationally. So again, imagine what he is being taught or what he's teaching his children behind closed doors. Because we don't want to talk about the fact that white parenting has caused a lot of the hiccups in this country. When we think of a Dylan Roof who felt emboldened to go into a church around black people, be okay with the black people embracing him, praying for him, praying with him, and then him turning around and unaliving those innocent people. Or the Buffalo shooter who went into a predominantly urban or black grocery store and just shot up the people. Or you're going to just a movie to watch, let's say, Batman, and all of a sudden you no longer have life because a white boy has gone in there and shot up the place. These are just a few examples. Tim McVeigh, for some of you all who are old enough to remember who he was, the Oklahoma bombing that took place years ago. These are just examples of white males who felt emboldened to, in a sense, exert physicality. Hey, John, thank you so much for coming. Joni Sherman, thank you so much for coming through. As you can see with the caption, ran across some more information regarding the Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony travesty, tragedy, because that's what it is. 2 lives were taken because of domestic terrorism. And that is exactly what happened with those 2 young boys. They were both victims of racism. One, unfortunately, his father taught him that black people are inferior, and basically they should be happy they're here. And you have one young boy who was raised by his parents, because you look like you look, you're going to have a different code where you have to eat a lot of things that most people wouldn't have to necessarily eat because you are black and you in Texas. While Austin was being taught that, for the most part, I think his name is Jeffrey. Jeffrey was being taught that he can say whatever to whomever and it's okay, especially if they're a person of color. Why do I say that? When you all go and just Google up his father, I think it's Jeff Metcalf, you will see that the comments that came out of his mouth regarding black people, how could that young man not have felt emboldened to put his hands on another human being that wasn't his child? He was conditioned that way. But there's no consequence for the white parents that feed these children this garbage. And then they, one way or the other, are dealing with the remnants of that. Because that's what happened to, I think his name is Jeff. Look, listening to what that man said, his father, and it wasn't just anger and compassion and whatever they say, because they're going to try to, what white people try to do in white America, what they try to do is minimize when white people actually speak their truth. And regardless of what the case may be, we have to acknowledge that all white people ain't the right people. All white people do not believe that we're all equal. And with all due respect, if black people have to come to that revelation, y'all have to come to the revelation too, and bring your people in and reteach them. It's not our responsibility to teach y'all about y'all's diabolical, maniacal mistreatment of other people based on race. That's not, and then when we try to educate you all, y'all don't want to hear it. You want to teach us about our struggle when you're the ones that's causing the struggle. And this is what happened in this scenario. Now, once again, anyone that's listened to any of my commentary, I don't condone violence unless you feel as if your life is being threatened. This young man felt that his life was being threatened because there had been other incidents before, and nobody's going to tell me otherwise. There is no way that a intelligent black boy that's living in Texas, that is raised correctly, because he was, would go into harm's way with all those white people and do what he did. No, no, ma'am, no, sir, no turkey, no ham. You all have to stop putting all of these expectations on other children's, other racist children's, when you don't have expectations for your own. This is where we are at this point. Because if you had expectations of your own, then you would expect that young man, Jeff, to have, if there was a problem, go speak to an adult. That's what white parents tell black parents to do, or tell their kids to do. They teach us, go tell an adult, go tell the teacher. Why didn't they do that? Instead, he decided to put his hands on another child, a child putting his hands on a child, because he's a child himself. What gave him that gumption, if you will, to do that? It was because his white father had basically conditioned him to know, or to believe, that he can do whatever to whomever that don't look like him. And anyone can tell me different. I'm looking forward to somebody telling me different, right? And this is going to be a very controversial subject because of what I'm discussing, and it's the truth. And people don't want to necessarily hear the truth. I see a user thumb down. Yeah, I get it, because don't nobody want to talk about what really happened prior to. They just want to talk about the fact that this young man defended himself. Because heaven forbid we defend ourselves in this country. Heaven forbid. So that's kind of where I am with some of the sentiments. That children are in fact not born racist. Adults are the first teachers that children emulate, scaffold, learn from, whether it be behaviors or ideologies, insight, whatever the case may be. And the fact that parents and adults teach racist behaviors, ideas, and ideologies. The fact that Jeff Metcalf's father had these types of ideologies. What do we expect to happen? This is domestic terrorism. Both kids were victims of domestic terrorism, right? Because what terrorism is supposed to do is what? Make you fear. And if you black and American, you're a child, unfortunately, we have to teach our children to fear. Literally breathing while black, walking while black, talking while black, going to school while black, playing a sport while black. The whole thing is black. Changing the attire, reading the Bible, being pulled over while black. That can be your only downfall, just being black. And you can have your life taken from you because you're defending your life. So this is kind of where I am, I was hoping to get more input, but I understand why we didn't, because it's not anything Trump related. It's not anything Epstein related. It's not anything, it's just regular human relations and how we treat each other and how we mistreat each other. And it just saddens me, y'all, because we're better than this. And when I say we, I mean you white people, because that black person didn't do nothing. And he didn't, and he got to spend the rest of his life thinking, what could I have done? What should I have done? The only thing different, son, if you can ever hear this, walk away, right? And I know it's easier said than done. I've been there on more than one time when they just get to you. I got an assault my dang on self. I'm walking out of the white people's house and they attacked me from the back and called the cops on me. So yeah, Cassie, Zach, and all of y'all, I hope y'all hear this, because I hadn't forgotten this public record. And it's gonna come back down to you. Don't get it twisted. Just because we were in North Carolina, which is pretty much a white state, you feel that you got away with it, but you didn't. We're gonna have some information on you soon. But with that being said, in this country, we're going to have to come to terms and speak about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room, or the zebra in the room, is this interracial conflict. And it's really not a conflict. White people just don't like black people. That's just really getting to be the conclusion. You envy us, you're jealous of us, you want to be us, but you don't want us. And you can't have it both ways. And I'm hoping one day, Black America, I don't know what it's going to take for Black America to understand that we are not wanted here. Yes, some of us were already here. I get it. And their ancestors are here. I get it. However, you don't have to keep beating yourself against the wall to prove a point. Like, I'm not even being funny. Like, and if y'all choose to want to stay here, that's great. If you choose to want to stay here, galvanize. Stop putting yourselves in categories. Put yourself in one category. You're black. In America, you're black. Period. With that being said, there are more of you collectively than of the white people. When y'all understand that, and I say y'all because I'm not going to be a part of that. That's nonsense. Anything that is separating my people from our people, I'm not for that. So I'm saying, I'm appealing to Black America. Put your pettiness aside. Like, real talk. If you were here, your ancestors were here before our ancestors came, great. Vice versa, great. We're still here together trying to make this matrix work for us because it wasn't designed for us. So again, if this is not a wake-up call, Black America, I don't know what you need. ADOS, ADOS, FBA, the other Black nationalist groups, forgive me, charge to my head, not my heart, that I don't know your names. But this is your time to galvanize collectively. While the white people's over there trying to get all mad, I don't know why the white people mad, because your system gave this boy 35 years, and he wasn't even judged by his peers. His peers are under 18 years old, so that's a lie and a fallacy within itself. This American system. But with that, you gave him 35 years. What else do you want? What else are you bitching and complaining about? You took a life. Be happy with that. And that just goes to show you're never satisfied. White America is never satisfied. You always want something else from somebody else, but you don't want to put forth the effort yourself. This mediocrity is ridiculous. Look what your mediocrity got us. The President of the United States with 30 something felons or misdemeanors or charges, crimes. It doesn't matter. He's um, um, he's an ex offender. He's adjudicated ex offender. So you don't really have a lot to really compare greatness to. But with that being said, let's get back to children not born racist. It's what they learn from us. And this boy, again, Jeff, he's no different from how our system in America has been towards our children. We have let them down on both ends. On in our black side, in our families, we can only prepare our children for this racism so far. Then it's up to what? A system that wasn't designed for us. It's up to white parents that don't really care for us and didn't really want to commingle with us to begin with. Like, what would be the incentive? And this is what I'm saying about the all of us coming together. It's not all of us coming together, because black people, we have been trying to find ways to bob and weave this and navigate the system. But white people have not had to learn to navigate their own system. And there lies the hiccup. There lies the problem that needs to be addressed, and nobody wants to address. Again, the elephant in the room, the zebra in the room. No one wants to address the fact that racism does exist, that this child was sent off because he was black. It's the truth, and we need to address it. But no one wants to hear it. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to address it. And then there's going to be more KARMELOs that he's like, I'm tired of y'all always bullying me. I'm going to respond. and they're demonized. It's really, really sad. It's a sad, sad state of affairs where